It is another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the 3 films released on March 20th, 2009. A couple of good movies, but before we get to the good ones, we have to talk about the bad ones. And oh, this first one is definitely a bad one. One of my selections for the worst movie of 2009. This is Nicolas Cage in Alex Proyas's Knowing. See, that trailer in particular has some of the stuff that's actually kind of cool about this movie and kind of makes it worth it a little bit, but, you know, honestly, this movie could have just been yet another bland, generic Nicolas Cage movie where you're just waiting for somebody to give this guy a good script already, because this is getting ridiculous of how many bad movies he was making between 2005 and 2010. But no, this thing had to go down a pathway that just ruins the film altogether. So as you get tell from the trailer, this is centering on the discovery of a strange paper filled with numbers and the possibility that they somehow predicted the details of various disasters. As they say in the trailer, this thing has somehow been able to predict, the number of major disasters over the past 50 years, like how many people are going to die. Like this thing predicted the Oklahoma City bombing, the 9/11 attacks, Hurricane Katrina. And there's an event on there that says that tomorrow 81 people are going to die somewhere. And so you have this New York City subway derailment that kills a lot of people. And according to the news report, it's an estimated 81 people. Oh, knows. Like, it's literally correct, even though it's an estimate, and that number could still either skyrocket or actually get lower. I mean, it literally just says an estimated 81. It doesn't mean the final numbers in general. So yeah, that's part of the problem with the movie in general. But I will say this. The subway derailment is pretty cool, but the plane crash is definitely the reason why this movie has some notoriety to it. Because, man, that plane crash, it's chilling to watch. It's crashing in the rain and exploding. Like, that's one of the few things that makes this movie almost worth it. Because other than that, though, it would have just been a bland, generic action movie with Nicolas Cage in it. But then they had to pull the rug out of you by doing something at the end that just feels completely out of place and completely ridiculously thrown in there. What's the big twist of the movie, you may ask? Aliens. It's my failed attempt to do the aliens meme, but no, literally, they throw in aliens in this, and then they try to throw in religious aspects, and it's just kind of like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this in a way that's so stupidly put together? Like, seriously, this is one of the dumbest excuses to have a twist ending that involves aliens and also combining it with religion. And poor Rose Byrne, man. I love Rose Byrne, but even in here, like, when she has to deliver the line, I did it for the children, it's just like, oh, come on. Like, it's phony, it's forced in, and the whole thing just is completely. This is the reason why this is one of the worst movies I've seen in 2009. Like, this is one of my top 6. I think it's in my top 6, the 6th worst movie I saw that year. If it's not in there, if it's not in that spot, it's definitely in that list. But yeah, it's a bad movie. It's a really terrible movie, and it fails because of that terrible, terrible twist ending. And I expect better from Alex Proyas. Alex Proyas has not usually made a bad movie. This is the guy that did The Crow. This is the guy that did Dark City. This is the guy that did I, Robot. And then he just went ahead and made these garbage movies like this and then Gods of Egypt. It's just like, what are you doing, dude? Like, why are you ruining your good name with these piles of garbage? And Gods of Egypt is much worse, but this movie is just so terrible because of how it ends. It's just, I can't believe how bad it is. I can't believe people bought into it. The movie was a huge hit at the box office, and it actually didn't get the worst reviews in general, but I'm sorry. When you throw in a pointless twist with aliens and try to combine it with religion and just have some of the worst line readings ever, it's a recipe for disaster. It's a terrible film. I hate this movie so much. I hate Knowing. It's one of the worst movies of the year, easily. So we got the bad movie out of the way. Now let's get to the good stuff. The stuff that actually came out this weekend that was more than worth it. Starting with Paul Rudd and Jason Segel in the comedy I Love You, Man. So yeah, trailer kind of speaks for itself what the plot is. Paul Rudd is a friendless man who's looking for a best man for his upcoming wedding. However, his new best friend, played by Jason Segel, is straining his relationship with his bride, played by Rashida Jones. And you see a cast that also includes Andy Samberg, J.K. Simmons, Jon Favreau, Jane Curtin, Jamie Presley among the cast in here. It's a very simple premise overall. Nothing too spectacular, nothing too amazing, but It's a movie that is incredibly funny and one of the big surprises of the year. I mean, this is the third time that Paul Rudd and Jason Segel also have collaborated on a film, with two very good movies in the process, Knocked Up and Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Both excellent movies, and this one's not quite as good as those films, but it works because you like the chemistry between Rudd and Segel. These two play off each other so well. And just Jason Segel, man, I've always had a lot of respect for him. I love what he's done in terms of his work. How I Met Your Mother, I think, is a great show, even though the ending for that show is pretty terrible. And he's done pretty good with shows after that. Dispatches from Everything on AMC was pretty good. And I've seen a little bit of Shrinking, and that's a very good show, too. I mean, the guy has a lot of charisma, a lot of talent to him. And Paul Rudd's Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd can usually never do no wrong. And again, most of the people in here can usually never really do anything wrong. I mean, everybody in here works very well. The writing is very good. The comedy is top-notch. And for John Hamburg, the director of this, to come off of Along Came Polly as his directorial debut and then do this, I mean, this is definitely a very good film of his. And I said that's his directorial debut, but no, it was Safe Men that was his directorial debut. But Along Came Polly was his first real big mainstream comedy hit. And then he followed it up with Why Him, which was not very good, and then Me Time, which was also kind of forgettable too, and he's also doing the fourth Meet the Parents movie. Why? I mean, the last one was not that great to begin with, but we're still a year away from talking about that one, but at least he has a really good one here. This is probably overall his best film as a filmmaker. I Love You, Man. I love this movie. I think it's a very funny film. I think it's a very enjoyable film. It works because everybody in here plays their parts very well. The comedy is great. The writing is top-notch. What more can I say, man? I love you, man. That's what I can say to this movie. I love you, man. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last one we have here, and that is Tony Gilroy's follow-up to Michael Clayton, starring Clive Owen and Julia Roberts. That is Duplicity. And no, not to be confused with the recently released Tyler Perry movie on Netflix. No, this is a completely different movie. For one thing, this is actually way better than that pile of garbage is. I don't know, I haven't seen it before, but I've seen a lot of Tyler Perry's Netflix movies, and yeah, they ain't that great in particular. Even the ones that are actually watchable are mostly memorable for the memorable quotes, you know, ashtray bitch, like that type of stuff. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Tyler Perry. I've already talked about him earlier in the month. But Duplicity, let's talk about this movie. The non-linear narrative follows two corporate spies played by Julia Roberts and Clive Owen, who have a romantic history and who collaborate to carry out a complicated con. Like I said, this was written and directed by Tony Gilroy, who came out swinging with his first directorial effort, Michael Clayton, which was a really good movie. This one's not quite as good as that one, but it's still a really enjoyable movie. It's a very interesting premise overall to have two spies from two different agencies working together and having a romantic relationship when you don't know if they're conning one another or not. And it works because Owen and Roberts have a lot of good chemistry together, and they're stacked with a really good supporting cast. It also includes Tom Wilkinson, Paul Giamatti, Carrie Preston, Tom McCarthy. A lot of really good people involved in the movie, and the movie does keep your intrigue all across the board here. What do I want to say? What else do I want to say here? It's a very interesting movie. It's a very interesting film where you have two different spies. You know, they have this romantic relationship, and you really don't know if they really are still in love with each other, or this is part of their con game. And it's a good movie that keeps you on the edge of your seat. It's a film that doesn't take you on its ride and then just pulls the rug out of you and gives you a lackluster ending. No, it actually does take chances, and it keeps you guessing on how this is going to turn out in the end. And when it happens, it actually does work in the film's favor. I think it's a very well-made film, a very good film from Gilroy as a whole, and, you know, you can never go wrong with Julia Roberts and Clive Owen when they're in good stuff in general. So, this is definitely one you want to check out. Duplicity is one I highly recommend. And so, with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies, and the next time we meet, we'll march up with 3 big new releases, including DreamWorks' latest animated feature, Monsters vs. Aliens, the horror film, The Haunting in Connecticut, and John Cena starring in his second leading theatrical role in the movie, 12 Rounds. So we'll take a look at those 3 movies. That'll be coming up tomorrow on the show, so definitely be on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please go ahead and hit that playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, notification button, and the bell. You get updates on when new videos come out there, and we post new videos here every day. So, with all that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.